Hiya, and welcome back to Moonlight Castle. The game that teaches us that I am on a never-ending quest to bite Clyde's fingers. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I had to remake the save. I stood by the entrance, breathing in the stale air soaked with blood, and my resolve faltered before me. Yet, this was exactly what I had signed up for, and running away now wouldn't change anything. I walked forward and placed myself at the center with nobody around but me. I thought somebody would have shown up by now. They were told in advance I'd be coming. I could use my soul to locate the closest one, but that would alert them of my presence, and deep down, I didn't want things to end just yet. Who else would willingly walk to their death? I was being selfish, hoarding all the life I had left to myself because I had shared so much of it already. No service. Great. I stared at my phone with the picture of me and Patrice displayed on the screen. My finger gently moved across it around his face. He was giving me strength. Being a hero sucks. You know that? My heart spiked in my throat. Someone screamed, their voice reverberating in this room from the hallway on my left. I could hear him crying, pleading to someone, to God, and then screaming again. Then silence. Like it never existed. I could tell by the way his voice had suddenly stopped that he was killed. Something choked the life out of them, and it sent chills down my very essence. I'm next, aren't I? Nah, you don't look that weak. A female voice whispered in my ear and I jumped away. How? I should have sensed her. I looked around, desperate to locate her position, to no avail. Couldn't possibly have imagined that. Still clinging to life? I thought you volunteered for this. I slowed down my breathing as much as I could. This voice. I knew exactly who she was. Hello, sis. How are you doing? I'm doing terrific. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I bet. I lowered my guard and walked closer. Why the fuck are there two? There's two! I lowered my guard and walked closer. I really like how easily you adapt to anything. They even offered you a promotion! What a shame throwing it all away. Interesting. I was being tested. You're a unique pillar with the ability to transform into your target. Talking about me already? Gosh, I'm going to blush! This was a big deal. I was hoping to gain more time by trading information, but... Yeah, no, your plan is going to work. I'm the one in charge of handling PMC tributes and keeping the king updated. Cool. I was fucked. I didn't want to put Layla in danger, not so soon after she retired. So, what are you going to do to me? I couldn't see a way out. Starling wouldn't do anything. Gavin knew everything, yet he didn't tell me. He should be happy I won't get to bite his tail off for this one. Nothing. Killing you immediately wouldn't give us any benefits. Else has to be your garden observer. Gotta make sure the food you ordered is high quality. That's incredibly funny because you're exactly right. We can't have a sacrifice that doesn't fit the bill, but you look really good. You knew your worth and you demanded a lot from the Devine Corporation to make this trade happen. I'd do anything to keep my loved ones safe. Well, if you can manage to produce the soul we need, I can guarantee they'll uphold the contract you signed. I dug through my bag and took a sip from my bottle. How long? My supplies can last for a week if optimized. She shrugged. I see, so I've got to figure something out. I wasn't a fan of scavenging. You can always loot them. She eyed the same hallway I was staring at a few minutes ago. Tell me that is a terrible joke. You would have loved that kind of joke. Under different circumstances. I make that exception only for my baby brother, not you. Don't let the curse ruin your mood. You usually find this exciting. It's not the same. I'm well aware that I'm going to die here, and until that fact sinks in completely, I won't be able to focus. And that's why I'm here to help. You are so lucky, sis. She snapped her fingers and a wave of pure soul manifested itself as wind. A welcoming gift you really shouldn't have. The whirlwind was so strong, I had to seek shelter or it would lift me off the ground. You have yet to see what this is! I held tight to one of the columns while she just floated in the air, watching me. You might be me, but I can't defy gravity. You're a traveler. What you can do is much better than this simple breeze. Yeah, this confirmed that she was capable of seeing everything I had done. Oh, hi, Mr. Fridge. The ceiling above me collapsed and a giant suit of armor appeared before me. His sword was twice my size, completely soaked in blood. Yet he effortlessly swung that thing around like nothing. He was huge! You know what to do. Introduce yourself. The knight grunted and roared, clearly not down to having a talk of any kind. I stayed hidden behind the column as he slowly walked across the room. She's right there, empty can. Fuck! She was snitching on me! I felt his sword swinging toward me and ran out into the open to avoid it. It cut through the whole thing. He had planned to take me down with it. Any peaceful solutions? Anything? He swung it downward and I jumped on top of it. Are you empty inside? I leaned toward his helmet and saw nothing but those blinding red lights. I jumped off before he could catch me and turn my attention to my double. Hey, what's his name? He doesn't have one. Really? That's boring. Calling him knight is so generic and clearly undeserved for someone of his stature. He charged at me and I easily slipped past him. Oh, I know, I'm calling you Fridge from now on. It's canon. It is now canon. It is now canon. His name is Mr. Fridge. It is canon. Yes. 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 It's canon. We won. I'm just kidding. Mr. Fridge is real. Yes. I swear to God, if there's a Lockety Tota joke, I am going to scream. If there is a Lockety Tota joke, I am going to fucking scream. If Mr. Fridge is real, Mr. Blorbo is also real. Oh my God, I hope so. Oh, I know. I'm calling you Fridge from now on. My copy laughed. He does look like a fridge, especially when his eyes light up. My fridge doesn't have a red light when I open it, but you get what I'm going for. I ran into the hallway to find the person who had just died. It didn't matter to me if I was doing exactly what they wanted. I didn't want to die yet. And if their way of testing me was a permanent game of tag, then I was down for that. Until I got too tired of fighting the Fridge would land the killing blow. Maybe I should go for Mr. Fridge instead. Sounds nice for me, don't you? Yes! Yes! Hang on. Keiko, you are amazing! You are amazing, Keiko, Mr. Developer. You are amazing. I opened my eyes and sighed. Was this going to happen every single night now? I stared at the ring, wondering if she knew that I dreamed about her. You there? She was unresponsive, but I could still sense her inside the ring. I wanted to turn this off later, if that was even possible. It'd be a nice quality of life change. I walked up to my desk, grabbed the notebook Liam gave me, and updated it. Working this early in the morning? I was trying to organize my thoughts. She placed herself on top of my desk, then laid down. This time her body was more tangible. I've got some important news for you, JJ. I tilted my head, unsure of what to say to that. JJ? That's my nickname for you. You don't mind it, yeah? I squinted, trying really hard to understand where this was coming from. Jojo. That didn't help. That's not my name, though. You are so picky. I'm basically saying Joel. It's cute. I don't mind it, just wondering what the thought process behind it was. I still think Mr. Fridge is my magnum opus. You are so subtle at sharing things. Sorry about that. I've gotten pretty deep in your subconscious, so some of my memory spilled into you. That sure is a sentence. Joel's Bizarre Adventure. Patrice would be on the floor laughing his butt off if he were here. Can we Speed things up. I have a terrible morning ahead of me. Right, MJ is coming over. She cheered, her voice way too loud for my thin walls. I am so excited to meet her, even if I already did. In your mind, I mean. I hushed her down. What are you talking about? Nobody is meeting her. You won't see her? Listen, I haven't decided yet. After all, he was going to be there. I wouldn't have minded just Mom alone. She was easier to handle. I highly recommend you meet her, not just for personal reasons, but for mediums as well. The seriousness in her tone quickly caught my attention. Is this related to what you found? Do you know how someone becomes a medium? The handbook mentioned something about being born this way. That's correct. You're either born a medium or you aren't. There's no record of someone becoming a medium later in life. Get to the point. It's something that usually runs in the family, so you happen to inherit medium blood. I stared. Are you sure? How do you explain the seal then? Someone must have known about this and sealed you when you were a child. We have a 50-50 on our hands. If your mom isn't a medium, then it must come from your father. No, but you think she's not a medium? I agree. If all you want is confirmation, then meeting her isn't necessary. I can just feel her soul through the door. Or not at all. And you're not even going to ask about your father's whereabouts? You make it sound so easy. It is, though? I don't know. You're asking me to brutally open her wounds again. Last thing I want is to make her cry. Alright, I'm not going to force you to do that yet. I'll share the rest of what I found and you can decide later. That sounds like I'll eventually have to do it regardless. No, I never said that. You did. Is there good news waiting for me anywhere? I frowned at her lack of an answer. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's neither. Important for sure, though. I can't ever get a normal day here. I sighed and waved at her to deliver the final blow. I couldn't figure out what your talent is. That falls directly in bad news, Nia. Is it? I just need more time to gain access to your sealed memories. I raised a brow in response. Didn't I give you permission already? She rolled around, phased through me, and jumped on my bed. That's the part I don't understand. You did, but you actually didn't. The lynx shrugged, her voice full of doubts. It's that subconscious stuff that's getting in the way. And then she pointed at me, almost wanting to blame me. There is something you really don't want to see down there. I can't say I don't remember anything weird that I chose to forget. You already forgot it, so it makes sense for you to say that now. Well, I didn't exactly know how to help in this situation. What's our next move then? Schedule that training with Liam. Have him show you how to control and channel your soul. You could tell me right now if that's so important. And then he gets suspicious that you figured it all out without him. She waved her arms around in protest and I calmed her down again. All right, I get it. Don't you want to stop having prophetic dreams, or at least decide when you want that to happen? That was a terrible attempt at channeling Liam's vibes with her giving me such a smirk. You've clearly heard me complaining about that before. Maybe. But in this case, you want to use it on yourself to open a pathway to your childhood memories. Every morning, things just get crazier, huh? I bet you enjoy this more than meeting your parents. Just because you're right doesn't mean this isn't insane. Then I remembered something else I wanted to ask instead. Also, what's a traveler? Your doppelganger called you that. Was that also from your dream? She was referring to my talent. As a ghost, it became useless. I stared, waiting for her to disclose more information. Alright, I'll tell you. Unfortunately, I can't use it anymore. That would have been easier. Because you're a ghost? Dead people can't produce soul. Mine especially required a lot of energy. She thought about it for a moment. It's like short-distance teleportation? Thought about the word traveler again. That's... wow. It was pretty hard to pull off, and I died before I could master it. Travelers are mediums whose talent involves movement. I think Liam will show you a different category later, so I'd like to stop here for now. I'm kind of tired. I just have one more thing to say, then I'm clocking out. She jumped back into the ring and disappeared. I willingly accepted my death in that castle. I signed a contract with my organization. Huh? Who would do something like that? I asked a few things of them, big enough to give up my life for it. Her voice darkened and I felt a wave of anger pouring from the ring. I threatened my parents into silence, forced them to set my brother free, and actively forbade them from having another child. I heard an evil chuckle coming through as she continued. I hope they ended up chopping that micro penis off. Wow. Wow. Does Liam know about this? Nope. I made sure to include that in my contract. They were supposed to erase any trace I left behind. Well, they didn't do a good job then. I'm sure they did good enough. If Liam managed to get this close to finding me, then a third party must be involved. And I kind of know who would do that. Any information about the organization? Liam barely mentions anything. That part is still blurry to me. Ask me tomorrow? I should regain more memories by then. I'll have to ask him directly during training. Take more soul if you need. You'd kill me! Aren't you already dead? Then I'd be super dead. You can experience death twice? Yeah, not really into that though. Once is enough. The room fell quiet and I sat in that silence for a while. Now that it was just me, I felt numb. I didn't even know what exactly I was supposed to be feeling after this. But Mom will quickly remind me. Are you awake? Stared at the clock right above me as I messaged Ryan. His last known activity seemed recent. Hopefully he wasn't driving yet. Joel, morning! Not a good one if you're texting this early. Wanted to say the opposite, but he was right. I messaged him because I was in trouble. Where are you right now? Driving. Under red light. I'm parking. Be right back. I didn't know when Mom would show up, but I needed to leave the house as soon as possible. I walked up to my window, moved the curtains away, and kept a close look on the road below. She needed to drive through there. But if I were to see her, that'd be already too late for me. My phone buzzed again. Okay, I can actually talk right now, sorry. So, you on your way? Yep, I should be there in like 20, depends on if the red lights hate me or not. I was thinking, what about meeting me somewhere else today? Directly to the Saffron stash sounds good. Why? You're being weird. Your apartment is literally on the way. It takes no effort for me to stop and pick you up. Shit! It slipped past my mind how convenient it was for him. I see, then come pick me up from the mall, that way I can get my groceries. That was the only place I could get him to stop at before my apartment. Didn't you go for groceries 2 days ago? Why the fuck would you remember that? And? Can't I go get more? I mean, yeah, of course you can. But it sounds like there's something else going on that you're not sharing. You're clearly overthinking this. Just pick one. You didn't have to say in this anyway. You were hiding stuff from me all the time. Alright, I'll wait at the Saffron stash. Thank you. I'll see you soon. I just needed hope Ryan would drive through before Mom. He'd totally recognize the car. Then I froze. My phone almost slipping out of my paws. Her car just passed by. I glared at the clock. What was she doing here this early? She played me. They knew I'd try to sneak out. I won't make it out even if I start running now. I closed the window, turned off every light in the room, and stood there. My heart decided it was time to go for a ride, and no matter how much I was trying, I couldn't keep it under control. I had to sit here and wait. Make her believe I left before she could get to me. Was this really what I wanted? I'd have to let Ryan know I'm stuck here, but then he would come here and meet them. This wasn't going to get a peaceful solution anymore. I could hear them coming, their footsteps becoming increasingly louder as they approached. His loud, obnoxious voice already complaining about this whole visit, and Mom patiently listening, compromising, hoping to quell that unreasonable anger of his. I missed her voice, but hearing his was destroying all the positive feelings her presence was evoking. Then the door knocked. I tightened my grip and waited, trying my best to silence every sound. My phone buzzed again and the screen turned itself on, but I couldn't bring myself to take it. Joel? Honey, you in there? She gently placed her hand against the door while her soul peeked inside through the door. It was delicate and shy, quickly retreating when something would come in contact with it. At least, Nia got her answer. We know... What voice should Joel's stepfather have? We know you're home! Get your ass over here and open the door! I could feel a knot forming in my stomach. I closed my eyes and wished to be anywhere else but here. Mom tried again. Her sorrow was making me feel incredibly guilty. She just wanted to check on me and make sure I was okay. Then he jumped in and demanded to be let inside, and that sparked an argument between the two. Can you please lower your voice, at least? I'd rather not cause a scene here. Couldn't hear her very well, not that I wanted to do that either way. I waited for this to end. I knew he'd get impatient and drag her away. Oh, Ryan, is that you? My eyes shot open at the mention of his name, and then her moving closer and saying something to them, and their voices died down. Oh my god. I reached for my phone and went through all the messages I didn't want to read. He noticed the car just as I feared and asked me what he should be doing, and ultimately decided to sort this out for me. I slowly walked up to the door, worried about what he could be saying to them. This was going to get so much worse for me. You could get a coffee in the meantime. Placed my ear against the door. I agree. He skipped breakfast just to get here. It's a bit hidden from you, but I totally recommend checking it out. And will you do that for me? I promise to try, but I can't guarantee it. Alright. Just tell him that I'm not going to be upset or anything. I just want to see him. Being curious was one hell of a curse. I heard my stepdad bitch some more only for Mom to take him away. I could tell that Ryan stayed behind, waiting for him to fully exit the building. His soul was shaken up, but touching mine from the other side was calming it down. I think they left. You can open the door now. Do I have to? I didn't want you to see me like this. I guess if you're mad at me for doing this, then... No, I don't think I am. I feel ashamed for making you do it. Thought about it, trying to unravel this feeling stuck in my chest. Wouldn't have minded asking you, I think. He chuckled in response. I won't mind being on your mom's bad side. And that's not fair. I'm the only one she should be mad at. I didn't want to involve you in my stupid choices. The world could be against you, and I would still stay by your side. I wouldn't accept it. I long for peace, and one-sided violence is enough to ruin everything. He sighed, and I felt his paw touching the wall. I know. I unlocked the door and slowly moved out of the way. You shouldn't stay out there. He gave me a compassionate look, someone who truly understood what I was going through. Did you hear us? I crawled my way back to bed. A little bit. I sent her the saffron stash. I gave him a confused look. Why there of all places? The food is good. You were forgetting about Russell. And because she's hoping to meet you there. That was enough for me to piece together their conversation. Ryan? He placed his paws between us, quickly jumping into a defensive stance. You don't have to, I told her as much. I said that I'll try. I can't do this. I knew I didn't have it in me to face her. This wasn't going to work. You're not alone. Let's do it together. Reached for my paw, but it didn't feel right for me to hold his. You don't get to say that. Not anymore. He didn't force me to stay in his grip and begrudgingly let me go. I know. I just don't know what else I could say to help you. His soul was filled with sadness, grief, and regret. Oh, hang on. Hold on. Hang on, I'm checking something. Are we back in another weather alert? Hold up. Hold the fuck up. We aren't. Well, I'm not. I would have actually been pissed. His soul's filled with sadness, grief, and regret. I screwed up a lot, and I wanted to make it up to you somehow. Waved around us in a circular motion like I was the rock someone had tossed in. Everything I say makes me feel like an asshole, and you don't just feel like it. You totally are. You are such a jerk. The ocean stopped its movements. His eyes were widened, his soul intrigued. And yet, I can't stay mad at you because deep down, you're just an idiot. I smiled. At least that was true. Okay. That didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I was mad, but never to the point of leaving you behind. It never does. His soul retreated into his body and the charm sealed it away. Your mom really loves you. She's just a little blind. A little, huh? My face snapped toward the window. I could hear the cars driving in the distance. Hers was in the midst of that chaos. You know how it went. She fell into a deep depression after my dad disappeared, and I know, you decided to keep the crazy guy around to give her another chance at life. I get it. But yours is a real mom. She's so nice. Even James loves her. I laughed, bewildered by that statement. She rescued me from bullying without knowing. And his expression soured, a hint of envy across his face. My mom isn't like that at all. He sat next to me and stared down at his feet. She's got this idea of what a perfect son should be, and it never left her mind. I need to dress, speak, act, eat a certain way. It's always been like this. His face softened up for sadness to reveal itself one more time. She keeps yelling at me about my body, that girls won't find me attractive because I'm obese and ugly, and... I grabbed his arm and pulled hard enough to get his attention. Ryan, God, where's this coming from? It's always been there, I just never showed you. And you still manage to smile at me every day? How could you ignore that? Everyone says, where is the fat bear that makes everyone happy? But no one ever asks, how is the fat bear that makes everyone happy? Could you ignore that? Does it remind you of something? I hated how similar I was to my mother. There's this idea of toxic masculinity in her head that I can't stand. She makes me feel miserable for trying to be myself. That wasn't meant to happen. You weren't going to reveal any of this, but I ended up forcing you. I never said I didn't want to tell you. I said that I wasn't ready yet. That point still stands, kinda. There's more? He gave me another look, one filled with fear and hesitation. Yet he smiled. He was comforting me, but his pain was leaking through. He was mortified and upset that he couldn't tell me everything else. I feel awful. He clenched his stomach and I heard it gurgling. Is everything okay? You can use my bathroom if you want. Yes, sorry, I'll be quick. He got up and I watched him sprint into the other room. This place didn't have solid walls, so it was easy for everyone to hear if they just paid enough attention to it. And so I heard you. If what I think is happening, Ryan, are you okay? Like, genuinely. If what I think is happening, oh my god. Oh my god. Ryan, genuinely, are you okay? Like... If you need someone to talk to... Wow. I wouldn't say it's anorexia. Yeah, bulimia. I'm pretty sure he has bulimia. Though it wouldn't surprise me if he also had anorexia. It explains everything. And it's horrifying. It's genuinely horrifying. Like, Ryan. Ryan, listen. We're here for you. We are here for you, okay? Fuck what your mom says. Fuck what anyone says. We are here for you. This is genuinely fucked up. Kneeled down at the base of the toilet, panting, throwing up. The world was being cruel, not once but twice with you today. You might not have said it to me directly, but this was basically a confession. What was I supposed to do now? The choice you wanted me to make was just as cruel. I heard the toilet flushing, the sink being used, and then silence. You stood there, behind that door, afraid of seeing what face I could make to you. Afraid of what questions I'd be sending your way, and terrified of me being disappointed in you. Are you done? Mom was waiting for me at the saffron stash. My voice hung in that silence, hoping to shake off our chains and return the happiness we deserved. He walked out, his face filled with concern for me, for himself, for our lives. I smiled the same way he did for me before. There was a fragile understanding between us. The small bridge seemed ready to break at any moment. Thanks. This was his promise to me. I'm hungry now. You can eat, but I'm going to have to ask Russell to decrease your portions. Yeah, I should have done that days ago. Let's go. I'm already freaking out. We just left. Well, I can't change my mind whenever I want. Then I heard the car locking itself. Ryan, you said yes, so we're committing. Can I bribe you somehow? We really don't have to do this. How bad can it be? All you gotta say is that you're fine, that you love her, and that you won't wait 2 months to call her again.
And you expect me to do all that with a smile on my face?
I'm not fine at all. That's why I didn't call her.
'Cause she would see it.
Hey, at least saying you love her is still on the table. I'm going to jump out the window. You shouldn't say that even as a joke.
She knows that something is wrong. You think I'm getting out of this meeting alive?
No matter what happens, I'll be there to support you.
There are so many things I want to say to her, but I'm afraid she won't understand me.
So practice with me right now.
What?
Yeah, you heard me. Tell me what you want to say to her. I don't think I can say it. Saying it means admitting that I've been wasting everyone's time. That I've lived my whole life wrong. What am I going to do if she can't take it? What will happen to me? So you decided to play pretend some more? I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to convince myself that this is the right path.
And that I need to keep going because eventually I'll see it. It's going to go away. This feeling is going to last forever.
And what if it does? I'm already starting to feel the effects of the bad decisions I made. The only difference would be that I'd blame myself for making them in the first place. What else is there for me? This seemed like the closest thing to a life I could call my own, but it never felt like it. You don't have to find an answer right away. I know, you told me to wait, so maybe I should do the same. Hang on, I'm gonna check something. Yep, I did minimize the thing. You told me to wait, so maybe I should do the same. All I want is for you to start thinking about it, instead of running away from the issue entirely. Mom, I'm sorry for being so difficult. We walked by his car and I felt a surge of emotions that were practically blowing open the lid I'd placed on top of it all. You go ahead, check where they're seated. Don't worry, I warned Russell that your mom was coming and placed them away from the entrance. I don't know if I'm thankful or freaked out by that. That means we can walk inside and mentally prepare for it, right? I am never going to be ready. But I appreciate your optimism. Should I call him over? How many layers of "this feels wrong" do we need to go through before you feel satisfied? So you don't want him to use his talent on them? Do I really want to make my life easier by reading their minds? That would be very unethical and immoral of us. Get his ass over here! It's going to be just a tiny peek. This is terrible. You are a bad influence. But it was making me feel better. Okay, I texted him. You should be coming out soon. Really? I don't see. Someone was indeed coming our way, but someone wasn't Russell.
Good morning, friends. How are we doing today?
Ryan scratched his chin in confusion. I suppose I didn't specifically ask Russell to come out.
I am clearly a better choice over Russell anyway.
He proudly announced that, pointing at himself. And I just groaned, incapable of displaying anything but disappointment. What are you doing here?
Well, it's important for me to get to know your parents.
I raised a brow. He didn't have a valid reason to be saying that.
Isn't that the staple of a healthy relationship?
This was becoming more embarrassing by the second. This is not the time for your comedy. Maybe he's got a message on Russell's behalf? Ryan was unknowingly offering him more ammunition to lead me on.
As a matter of fact, I do.
I genuinely needed to believe that was the case. And you couldn't just start with that, huh?
Listen, Russell wanted to send Clyde instead, but I offered that disrespectful toward me. But I consider that disrespectful toward me.
Clyde was also here? I was going to have an aneurysm.
But then he mumbled an excuse about the man next to your mom and refused to come out from behind the counter.
Weird, it almost sounds like he knows him. My big, lovable, dumb detective. That's because he does.
I love this tea! I mean, I'm more into fizzy drinks, but this is the kind of tea I can enjoy.
Yes! Liam loved gossip. What a shocking revelation! Alright, you got your moment. Hand over the information. I hope my unimpressed reaction made it clear enough to him how much I was done with this.
It's interesting how Russell's talent works. It feels very stream of consciousness-like.
Liam moved his hand forward and counted as we spoke.
So we heard the name James, that she knows about the poll, and she's worried about your health.
I felt obligated to give Ryan a stare. He wasn't the most suspicious one here, but we were pretty close. I didn't tell her, I swear. He distanced himself and almost begged me to believe him. They're not the kind of people to read a newspaper. They're not old enough for it. James might have snitched to get you in trouble then. Just think about it made my blood boil. When I get my hands on that panda!
There's another important piece for you, something that will greatly improve your family meeting.
I waited only for him to give me that terrible grin of his. Yes? Keep going! He raised his finger and waggled it left to right.
I still need your help for the you-know-what.
This guy didn't seem to care about my situation and the urgency I was in. The training? Right now, don't you see the mess I'm in?
Things turn out too busy on my end. I need you now.
At least let me get rid of my mom first. Ryan gave me a concerned look that I didn't even want to acknowledge.
So I'm actually quite good at destroying families.
He faked his surprise and gasped. That's terrible! You shouldn't sound so proud of that. Liam shrugged, unfazed by the bear's concern.
They were awful people! Your mom, on the other hand, cares a lot. Her biggest thought is about you. She believes you hate her.
Oh, wow. I held my chest. That last sentence struck deeper than I thought it would. Unexpected collateral damage. I see. Liam seemed pleased with himself for having told me that. No shit Russell wanted to send Clyde my way.
It seems like I can mark this quest as completed and move on. I'll see you later.
He was such a gremlin. I know you don't hate her. The bear placed his paw on my shoulder to comfort me. I love her. That's why I've been trying to stay out of her life. Is this really what you want? I stared through the glass doors and located the two. They were facing the wall. Mom seemed to be holding the menu, and then I looked away. I didn't want to know what he was doing. What I wanted to do and what I was supposed to do have never aligned. Hey, it's okay. We've barely given it any thought lately. With the castle in the way, survival became my biggest priority. Became? Since when? That never changed. Let me start the conversation. You can join me after I do. I took a deep breath and walked inside. Her voice quickly made her way to my ears and paralyzed me. The server recommended these pastries. From the window, they looked freshly made.
Don't waste your money ordering so much.
I can always take them home with me. And if they're as good as that gentleman claims, I'll have to get the recipe. She giggled while he grunted in annoyance. Ryan poked me, waiting for me to do something besides spacing out. Mom. My voice managed to crack a single word and manifested as a soft whimper. But she stopped talking and turned to me. Her smile faded and a concerned look replaced it, as she quickly stood up from her seat and made her way towards me. Tried again, hoping to sound less pitiful than before, but she didn't let me. The beagle already had me between her arms, embracing me the way only a mother would. It's so good to see you again. She didn't know how badly I wanted to reciprocate the hug. It took an unbearable amount of effort to keep my arms from hugging her back. I could feel them shaking, fighting me because we both deserved that. But that single action would take the lid off my bottled emotions. And I couldn't do that. I still had a chance to get away from this situation. Oh, I missed you too. But it was yet another battle I was meant to lose. I hugged her tight, almost desperately, nearly to the point of shedding tears at that very moment. But I managed to not cross that line. This was the first time I'd ever felt happy to lose a battle. School must be rough if that's how you say hi to your mother. She gave me a warm smile, just as compassionate as I remembered it to be. Mom led me to the table without letting go of my hand. I felt her fears in the way as she tightened her grip. I could tell that she was worried I'd disappear again, that this was the only way to make her believe I was really here with her. It's not so bad. We exchanged a few greetings, then I reluctantly acknowledged his presence and sat next to Ryan. Oh, he does not deserve to look as good as he does. Genuinely. That is actually not at all what I expected him to look like. I had a very specific thought in mind, and that is the exact opposite. You know, like a Brian from Echo? I genuinely thought he looked like Brian from Echo. God damn it, I need to figure out a new voice for him. Ugh. I'm gonna give him the fucking Lucian voice. I'm gonna give him the Lucian voice. I wanted to pretend he didn't exist, but now I was forced to look at him. I genuinely thought he wouldn't show up. Color me surprised. I gave him a weak grunt in response, not knowing exactly what he wanted from me. Did you guys already order? Ryan chimed in, shifting the conversation away from us. I got ourselves 2 cappuccinos and 2 espressos. Oh, that sounds great! I figured you'd like something sweet alongside it, so I got a few things. Terrible timing for that. I'm kinda dieting? He briefly glanced my way. I'll just take a bite or 2. Mom frowned, angered by his unusual response. This is coming from Tessa, right? Don't listen to her. She sighed, her soul gently caressing Ryan's head. She's always been obsessed over weight. You look lovely. Okay. Can Joel's mom stop being perfect? Can she stop being perfect? Ryan awkwardly laughed it off. In my family, big boys have always been a symbol of health. I keep telling her that you're going to have a long life. I smiled. We couldn't exactly tell her the truth, but her heart was in the right place. She doesn't get to decide what everyone likes. I think you look cute just the way you are. Ryan blushed, redder than he'd usually get. Oh, thank you. Mom's gaze moved back to me, readying herself to have the talk. We need to discuss what happened yesterday. Russell's talent offered me a good insight already, but I needed to play dumb and make it believable. Is that why you came to visit? I wish you had told me. Under different circumstances, I wish I would have done that. Mom, we're fine. I didn't want to worry you. I get it, but can you imagine how it feels to learn this from somebody else? I was praying for James to bump his toe against a nightstand or something. I'm sorry. I could tell from the look on her face that the worst possible question was coming. She was charging it up. He was working on a really important project. Mom shifted back to Ryan, and I was relieved to have dodged that bullet. It was a difficult day, so a surprise visit would have been bad. I guess so. She sounded unsure, but looked willing to move past this. I take it that everything's fine on campus? Yeah, I'm doing the best that I can. Even helps me study. She moved her paws together and cheered. Just like old times. I didn't know if those were good times or not. He'd always get into fights back then because of me. Those were tolerable times. Ryan helped me stay alive. No, it was on them for being bullies to you. I hated that. A lot of things never felt right. It was dangerous, I agree. But at least he'd do it for your sake. I couldn't stand those jerks bullying Joel. You didn't need to do that, though. I was fine. I wasn't fine with it, and I will do it again. Besides, you'd be my nurse and take care of me. Isn't that the best reward for a wounded warrior like myself? He was going to force the hat reaction out of me at this pace. I'm ashamed on your part for saying that out loud. Mom giggled, flashing us another bright smile. I'm glad to see nothing has changed. You two are just as close as I remember you being. Then she looked at me with a hint of worry and concern. Joel? Make sure to support him, okay? Things haven't been good for him lately. I don't know the full extent of his troubles, but I was aware now. She was treading on thin ice, touching his weakest spots. You're exaggerating. It's fine. We don't have to talk about it. I'm on your side. Then she faced Ryan again and looked at him in the same way she did with me. Thank you for looking after my son. I'll never be able to repay the kindness and patience you've shown him. Mom! The hat was calling louder now.
Don't get all shy on me. You two have done everything together.
I could tell that Ryan needed a moment, so the horse was going to get his opportunity to join this conversation. Have you found a girlfriend yet? I don't know. Have you considered fucking off yet? I sighed. The most innocent questions were enough to upset me. No. Do you do anything else besides studying? He was trying so hard to make me look like a failure in front of her. No. I felt cornered. I was this close to blowing up in his face and yelling at him. It's a scholarship. He has to stay behind after class to keep those grades up. Ryan rescued me again and managed to push that anger away. Are you always going to speak up for him? You're not his lawyer. I hope you commit vertical tortilla chip. Mom reached out for his hand and stopped the conversation from escalating.
Eric, that's fine. I get what you're trying to say. You're clearly uncomfortable, so leave them be.
He angrily swiped her hand away and adjusted his stupid suit. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no! Oh, hell to the goddamn motherfucking no! I will beat that smug grin off your face with this belt. Alright, hang on. I'm gonna put on the beanie. I'm gonna try to twin with Joel as best I can. He's a horse! It's not rocket science. Although I don't want to think about it, it's not rocket science. That and he looks fancy. He looks fancy and he's a horse. I'm putting on a hat. It's a beanie. Ah. The beanie is on. Let me adjust it. That way it looks decent. And there we go. He angrily swiped her hand away and adjusted his stupid suit. You're too soft on him. Some discipline would fix everything. I have a better solution. Your wife leaving you would fix everything. I would love to rub everything I've been up to in your face, but I didn't need you to think I was insane. I have made some new friends recently.
See? He's trying. That's reassuring.
Your orders. Russell came to our table with a few trays on his arms, with Mom's assistance, he distributed them around the table. Thanks, Russell. Her ears perked upon hearing the server's name.
Oh?
He's a friend of ours. Our group usually gathers here to have dinner together. The jerk seemed quite annoyed by this fact.
I love that you guys are having small parties. Reminds me of the ones we used to go to before you two left for college.
Those parties were just an excuse to brag about whose son was the best. He scoffed, now openly showing us his cynical side.
I never saw it that way.
But this one time you might have been right, especially after falling for those lies myself. That's because you're naive. No, it's because you're a bitch. Eric.
Be nice.
I can't do that because you're already way too nice. Ugh. She smiled, feeling flattered by his rancid aura. Wait, did he not have a soul? I couldn't see it.
Silly? Who said you've got to balance me out?
I drowned my disgust into that cappuccino and swallowed it down.
Joel?
I emptied my cup and met her serious gaze. What's wrong? I braced myself for impact. She was trying again when we ran out of distractions.
I'm still worried, but talking to you, meeting you here, and spending time together made me realize a few things.
I swallowed hard.
That you're obviously an adult now, and I shouldn't overstay my welcome.
No, no, no. Joel's mama. That's not it. Mrs. Joel's mama, that's not it. No, it's because of this dickhead. It's because of this dickhead right here. It's not you. She toyed with her mug, rotating it as she spoke.
Well, I'm just glad to see that you're trying to stand on your own. I didn't want you to give up, and I would have gladly supported you through whatever is going on. Even if you won't tell me what it is. I think I regret missing my chance. It sounds silly of me to say that.
She was holding back tears, and it was enough to tug at my heartstrings. Are you going to tell her anything or not? She's hurting for no reason at all. You're ruining everything.
I'm going to be fine either way. But I want you to know that I'll always listen to anything you have to say. I need it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Joel? Why was he the one crying? Not obvious to tell her everything right now if I could. But my whole life would be at risk just by taking that step forward, and I wasn't ready at all. What would happen to me if she were to turn her back on me? Everything would get worse. I didn't have a plan B, and I certainly didn't want to become a burden on my friends. The truth wasn't safe because there wasn't an alternative. Not yet, at least. I'm not ready. She gently cupped my hand, giving me all of her undeserved understanding in a single glance. I need time to think and find the answers myself first.
You'll be missing out on some useful motherly advice.
She chuckled and I smiled back. Who told you I'd ignore you?
That would make me happy.
Are you seriously going to take that? He's bullshitting you. Bitch! I snapped my head toward him and glared so hard I hoped his head would explode. I'm not. I'm being honest. I hated the look in his eyes. It felt soulless. You're just spoiled. He was just as cold-hearted as I remember. Let me set the record straight. He's afraid you're going to take away his benefits. That sharp tongue always hitting my weakest spots. In a way, he was right, but that wasn't the whole truth. He doesn't pay for his own rent, utilities, groceries, and transportation. I could feel Ryan's legs fidgeting under the table. And he's just not grateful to you. Not one bit. I placed my hand on the bear's leg to calm him down. He calls you only when he needs help, never to ask about your day. Is that fair? He's just taking advantage of your kindness. He wasn't wrong, but he wasn't right either. I hated how he was making me feel.
Eric? We've already talked about this.
Mom attempted to keep the monster under control, but he had been silent for too long. Oh, I know. I just wanted him to hear that. You just wanted to make me feel like shit. I figured that out already. I told Annabelle to make you work part-time so you can cover some of those expenses yourself. Felt a knot stuck in my throat that wasn't letting me breathe normally.
And I believe that's unnecessary.
He had been holding it all in just like me, and now he wanted to make sure I wouldn't feel safe. That I wouldn't forget the real reason I'd been avoiding her. It's not. He needs to have a taste of what the real world is like. Instead, he gets to have such an easy life and doesn't truly understand his privileges. He was the one taking my oxygen away. The more he talked, the worse I felt. Because if he did, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. He'd be happy to be here, but no, he looks miserable, as if my request is unreasonable. That's why you should lose some of your comforts, Joel. Maybe that will fix that immaturity of yours. I knew that I was inflicting these issues on myself, but I couldn't help it. I just couldn't breathe. I was holding it all in. There was a terrible grip on my neck, so uncomfortable and painful I thought I was going to pass out.
Maybe you should wait outside.
You can't be serious right now.
We're leaving soon, so I thought you could use a moment alone to calm down. Maybe smoke?
Fine, suit yourself. He stood up, his eyes still glued to me. "You're going to regret not listening to me when you had the chance." I watched him leave while still holding my breath, and I couldn't let it out until he was gone. "Hey, you're fine, you did good." The bear gently wrapped his arm around me, and I leaned into him.
I'm really sorry for that outburst of his. He's not like that, you know him.
I did. He was much worse than this.
I think he's also worried about you and is trying to show it. Although that was a little too harsh even for me.
It's okay, Mom, I get it.
One thing I really want is for us to stay in touch.
I know, you're right. She dragged a large gym bag out from underneath the table and dropped it at my feet. What is that?
Oh, you know. Just a silly little thing I prepared in advance for you.
He really reached out for the zipper, only for her to stop me.
No. I need you to go through this after I'm gone. Realistically, you should take it home before opening it.
Alright.
I love you, Beanie.
Don't call me that!
Why not? Ryan knows that name. It's just the three of us.
I sighed. Yeah, I love you too. She leaned closer and pecked my right cheek. I was already blushing before, and this only encouraged it.
You look so much better when you smile.
She glanced over to Ryan, and he nodded back.
I don't want him to wait any longer. I feel bad for sending him away.
She headed to the counter to pay for her breakfast.
You boys take care, okay? I hope to see you again next week.
My brain properly registered each of the words she said, but it took me a moment to connect the dots. Next week?! She left before I could get an answer, and I didn't want to go after her either. It was done! We were done! I think it went good. He was obviously reluctant after the shit show that damned horse pulled on me. It's over. I'm so glad this is over! My eyes traveled back to the counter. Russell was heading at us to join him, Clyde and Liam as they came out of their hiding spot.
Come on, Beanie. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, I saw that one coming. You will not use that name ever again.
But it's cute.
When it comes out of your mouth, it feels like a weapon!
Who do you think would say it better? My money's on Patrice.
And the rest of you guys will take this knowledge to your graves. Don't we get to ask where it comes from? I'd love to tell you, but no! You will stay quiet! Alright, I won't say a word. It's a nice nickname that plays on his love for hats. Russell! He was using his talent on Ryan right now! It's a harmless nickname, I don't see the issue. He turned to me and I quickly dodged eye contact. Turn that shit off now! I didn't want him to learn about things he wasn't meant to know.
No can do. We're gonna do some medium training soon.
So, can't you just turn it back on? There is some downtime after deactivating this talent, but I haven't learned the correct timing yet.
I'm guessing it lasts for 1 hour, but it could be shorter.
Activating it drains a lot of soul, even with a failed attempt. Fine. I don't care. Just keep me out of it. I'm not doing it on purpose.
Then I'll keep you busy for a bit. Joel needs food, so cooking something easy to make.
You're just going to make food for me without my consent? I agree with Liam. 2-on-1, majority rules. That's not how it works. I'm the one eating, not you. If you don't, I will. Hey, just because you can't eat doesn't mean you have to take it out on me. Yeah, being hungry does make me a little grumpy. Don't take it personally. Isn't it a necessity for mediums to eat as well? I sighed, laying my body across the counter. It's just that seeing the horse killed my appetite. Clyde twirled his whiskers, confused by who exactly did that to me. The horse guy? Yeah. You know him? We've never really talked, but I thought I recognized him. How? He's at least double your age. He works in the same company as my dad. Right. Please don't ask any further. I'm telling you the truth that I have no connection to him. He's an accountant just like my father, that's all. There was a degree of truth there, but his soul was way too agitated for me to believe him. That reminds me, I couldn't see his soul. Liam chuckled.
I thought you'd never get to experience that.
Why? What does that mean? I feel like you're making fun of me.
We're not perfect. Our emotions can get away with medium work. You hate him so much you're unable to read his soul.
Huh. Checks out. So, is that your dad? No, and thank God he isn't! I am going to feel sick. I see. I was thinking that you didn't look like him at all. No, enough. I refuse to even entertain this thought. The bowl returned with a simple egg dish, plated it, and handed it over. Please tell Ryan to stop imagining what you'd look like as a horse hybrid. The bear immediately covered his face in shame. I was was the closest he'd ever gotten to looking like me. Should I lend you my hat? But he wasn't even looking at me! He totally deserved that. Staring isn't the only tool I have to read minds. Eye contact just makes it stronger, otherwise I only hear whispers. I was relieved to hear that. And yours are especially loud. I felt bad, imagining Ryan practically screaming his thoughts into Russell's face. Okay, this is it. I'm at my limit. We're done. I focused on my food and enjoyed the bonus meal he cooked for me.
Do you know anything about your real dad?
I stopped, my eyes moving to the links. Doesn't matter. Nia needed to stop manifesting her theories. Actually, it kinda does. Seeing Clyde taking Liam's side was new and jarring.
I'd love to serve you up another joke, but this is relevant to our tiny sweat hand.
I reached for another bite and forced him to wait. You want to call it tiny now? Maybe he was projecting. Russell's soul shifted in response to that thought. Of course he'd heard that one. Okay, it's not, but we swear that sharing what you know about your biological father will be useful. When Nia warned me about this, I was a bit skeptical. His mom wasn't a medium, so that means Joel must have gotten it from his father.
There might be a chance of it skipping a generation, but it stays in your DNA regardless.
And then it doesn't have to be him. I don't understand why we're bringing his dad into the conversation. Joel clearly doesn't like this. At least someone here understands. You should start by providing more context first. Liam turned to Clyde and the dragon reluctantly nodded.
I'll simplify as much as I can.
We waited for him to continue while I finished my second breakfast. Damn, that felt like luxury.
I had the pleasure of meeting my boss yesterday.
Lynx was giving me his worst sarcastic tone yet. And here I thought he kept that in reserve for us.
It's safe to say he won in my head.
I eyed the dragon. His soul was flailing around, disturbed by Liam's words. Okay, and my father matters here because I personally didn't care about the backstory. I wanted to get straight to the point. It's likely that I used to work at the Paranormal Management Center as a medium. Liam's workplace? You're joking. Liam's stupidly proud face told me that Clyde, in fact, wasn't joking.
He used to be my coworker, isn't that funny?
God, I pity him. Clyde coughed, annoyed by Liam's constant need to derail the conversation. Liam? Please focus. He gave the dragon his trademarked smug face.
So, according to the info I stole, the castle seems to have a long history of kidnapping people.
I'm taking the hat off. I'm taking the hat off and fixing my headphones. I have everything set to a specific setting and I'm taking the hat off. And I'm not wearing headphones for a bit.
So, according to the info I saw, the castle seems to have a long history of kidnapping people. The targets were meant to be bad people that need to be reformed, but I believe they didn't give me the whole story.
We were hoping you could help us by sharing everything you know about him.
I tried snooping around on my own, but they covered it up. Everything about him had been deleted.
I sighed, looking back on what Nia had told me. I guess it couldn't have been Mom. Do you want me to talk about him? I smiled at him and shook my head in response. There was something else bothering me that I needed to share. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? Mom was right there!
My talent showed me a bad outcome. That horse guy might have caused a scene.
Your talent did?
I'll explain that later.
I kinda needed him to tell me now. Was he capable of making predictions? Listen, I understand how difficult it is to share your personal affairs with everyone. His soul felt warm as it slowed down enough for me to feel it around my fingers. I haven't been entirely honest with you guys, and as much as I'd love to share everything, I have to hold my tongue. Ryan placed his paw on his shoulder. Don't feel bad, we all have secrets we'd rather not say. I raised a brow in protest. Clyde? You're not a medium, yet you're here for training? That means you should have to be more involved than you say you are. Clyde looked away, bothered by his own naivete.
I know everything. Isn't that enough?
You absolute creature, no. He proudly pointed at himself and I looked at him unamused. No, not really. We're all caught up in this mess now, aren't we? What he's hiding isn't about the castle. He's willing to share anything that concerns you. Yeah, what he said. I'm pulling my hair back and putting the headphones back on. We're going all night! Yeah, what he said. I just need you to not question me and my motivations. I shrugged. Okay, fine, I'll look the other way. I'd gotten a lot of practice in regards to that one. I looked at Ryan. He smiled and I did too. Yeah. Unfortunately, you're not going to learn anything from me. He left us when I was too young to remember anything. What about what Liam revealed to us earlier? And a question immediately came forward. So he's dead? The lynx frowned in response, almost offended by my line of thinking.
I said disappeared, not killed.
You couldn't accept it. Doing so would imply your sister was also... Being dead would have made him less of an asshole, I think. I wasn't trying to justify his actions. We thought he abandoned them. Clyde's ears perked up. You thought? I don't know anything about him.
He's your dad. What do you mean you don't know?
Mom fell into a deep depression when he left. Any mention of Dad would have caused her to relapse. My eyes traveled down to an empty plate as I watched Russell take it away. It was a really hard period for her. He was looking after her when she couldn't look after herself. Joe was just a child. It was tough on him, too. Oh! I'm so sorry, Joel. I didn't mean to bring the whole mood down. It's fine. Liam was the only one who seemed annoyed to have come up empty.
You're serious? You really don't know anything? Not even his name or his looks? Nothing?
I shrugged. Getting desperate wasn't going to change things. Nothing. Seems like we've bumped into another dead end.
Not yet.
I knew what was coming next and I didn't want to hear it.
Joel might not know, but his mother does for sure.
He was going to kill me. She literally just left. You can't expect Joel to go and visit her now. I appreciated him for taking my side, but that was selfish. I was well aware of that, but...
And? Our lives are at stake. Did you forget about that part?
His tone was growing increasingly aggressive, and Ryan seemed ready to turn this into a screaming match. Hey now, we'd have to go back tonight no matter what. Isn't it better to give them space for now? Clyde immediately jumped in before their argument escalated. I'm not bringing you guys over to interrogate my mother over this. The dragon suddenly reached for his phone and distanced himself from us.
I didn't want to do that anyway. It's your dirty laundry, not mine.
I looked away. His words were way sharper than usual.
Only you can get her to talk. You're their son. It's your right to learn about your father.
I get it, but I don't think I can do that right now. Liam pushed his glasses inward and grabbed the bridge of his nose. I could tell he had more to say, but he was holding himself back.
You have until Monday morning.
I instantly panicked upon hearing that. That's barely 3 days! He crossed his arms, giving me a judgmental stare.
Do you want to die? Is that it?
I didn't say that.
I'm trying to respect your wishes and also protect your sanity.
You were?
If tonight goes well, I can hold on just long enough for you to do your thing. But this is the best I can do. You should thank me.
I'll try. I can't make promises.
You'll do it.
Stop demanding things like that. If you would be more supportive, I'm sure Joel... That's okay. You can't expect that from him.
Yeah, I'm the cold-hearted evil man who doesn't know empathy, blah, blah, blah. Don't care, didn't ask. We're doing the training now.
Looked at the bag Mom left behind and went back to him. I just finished talking to Blake. Is it possible to postpone? Right, wasn't Dylan supposed to join us? He's not here.
Well, yes, that was the plan until Blake took him on his stupid investigation trip.
Sounded more like Liam wanted to go instead. And that brings me to the message I just received. We have a lead, but one of us has to stay behind in the building. It's about finding the culprit that likes to pretend they're Liam. I still don't understand why anyone would pretend to be him.
There are plenty of reasons. I am quite the character, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, right. The soonest I can do is 2 hours from now after lunch.
Ugh, fine. I'll take this chance to meet up with a friend and prepare tonight's equipment.
Do not
be late. I refuse to carry out multiple sessions.
He pointed his stupid finger at us, trying to look as menacing as possible. That was never going to work. I thought he'd stop, but he was still doing it from the outside through the glass. Sorry about all that. Yesterday's been rough, and meeting his bosses put him on edge. And you would know about that because we agreed not to ask that. We did, but that's the most interesting part! I'm really sorry. I know this is unreasonable of me. I wasn't upset at him for wanting to keep to himself. I forgive you. I'm just like you after all. Ryan shyly toyed with his thumbs. Same. I grabbed Mom's bag, gave Russell a tiny nod, and headed out. I'll be back later then. It was surprisingly heavy. Thankfully, Ryan was there to help me. You alright? I didn't know what to say. I feel like the answer is no, if it takes me this long to say yes. We didn't say much. He tried, but I just couldn't keep any conversations going. You don't need to open the bag if you don't want to. Ryan walked past me and into the bathroom. Hey! I worried that he'd do it again. No, I'm cool, just checking. He returned, sat on my bed, and watched me. You could play a couple of games first. My console's right there. Forced to smile, fully aware of his attempts at cheering me up. Maybe later. My head was a mess. I felt numb. That's okay. The bear dove under my bed sheets, his tiny tail coming up first, and he spun around and showed me his big nose. Nap? Let's take one together. That immediately sent me back to those sleepovers we did back then. We're never rested enough. Thinking comes easier when you feel good. I don't think I could fall asleep right now, even if I wanted to. Oh. Yeah. I felt awful for turning him down, not once, but twice. He was trying so hard. Is there anything you'd like to do? No. My eyes locked onto the bag I was supposed to check. I feel like I don't deserve to do anything else until my emotions are all sorted through. This was some kind of punishment, to make sure I wouldn't be so shallow as to allow myself the freedom of moving on. I know that isn't good for me. Ryan pinched my sleeve and gently pulled me closer. I'm gonna ask again. I swallowed. My eyes were now back to him and they met his eyes. Do you want to talk? His tone was delicate, patient, and passionate. I could tell that being here and supporting me wasn't bothering him at all. It doesn't have to be about that. It can be about anything that's on your mind. His eyes vaguely reflected me, allowing my imagination to kick in. Why are you doing this? I struggled and broke free, scared of keeping up that stare for too long, because what I imagined wasn't far from the truth. Because I care about you. Aren't you upset? You should be! His eyes widened, uncertainty creeping in, unsure of what he should be saying. I didn't make any progress! Yes, you did. Then why couldn't I tell her the truth? What's stopping me from sharing my feelings? You weren't ready to share it. Then what? Then when am I going to be ready? Will I ever be ready? I pushed that bag off the bed. Do I even have a choice in the first place? He stared at me, incapable of providing the answers I so desperately needed. My whole life doesn't feel like it belongs to me. But I ignored how wrong that felt because I hoped it would go away eventually. It never did. We don't have a timer. You don't have to feel like you're wasting your life. All we need is to find the power to change it. What if I never find it? You will. It takes time. Look at me. It's taking so long in my case. I see you. I see you messing things up constantly. Ouch, that was a bit uncalled for. I'm trying to cheer you up over here. You should be mad at me then. I would never do that. Why not? I did. I got mad when you were at your lowest instead of hearing you out. I wasn't going to talk. There's this thing that doesn't let me. And I'm trying to find what I need to push past this. I don't care. I want you to get mad at me. I want you to tell me that I fucked up. Just like Liam did. He's always a bit too harsh, but I don't think he really said that you fucked up. This wasn't right. Ryan wasn't being honest with me. Weren't you the one who didn't want me around him? My voice was growing increasingly louder, begging him to have a different reaction. Isn't this exactly what you were waiting for? I wanted him to be mad at me now because I deserved it. Go on. Tell me that I was wrong. Tell me that you told me so. That I shouldn't have tried to get closer to him. But he didn't. He gave me a sad look instead. Ryan was fine with this. He was fine with me being unreasonable. Joel, I was jealous of him. That single truth was strong enough to choke my own thoughts. You... What? Yeah. I saw the attention and care you were giving him. All my brain kept saying was, it should have been me, and my stupid emotions got the best of me. Ryan chuckled, surprised to have been capable of letting that specific thought leave his mouth. He knew that by saying this, he was giving it away. You're such an idiot. I nudged him and offered the bear an escape. There is no competition. And even if there was, I'd let you win every single time. That doesn't sound very fair. Life's never been fair to us. You should know the truth by now, but I wasn't going to rush you anymore. What I wanted was also something that I didn't feel ready to accept. No matter how much my insides screamed, no matter how hard I kicked from within the closet, I couldn't let it out. I think I'm okay with waiting. I think that, no matter what, I'd be waiting for you. He stood up and walked back to the entrance. Did I say something wrong? I didn't mean to offend you. The bear shook his head in response. I wanted to show you something, I guess. Don't move, okay? I'll be back in a second. The moment his body crossed into the hallway outside, he picked up speed, his soul leaving a tiny trail behind. My eyes went back to the bag that I'd hastily abandoned underneath the table. The idea of opening it was scarier than the real thing. Her heart was in there. All those emotions she had failed to convey were hiding inside. I wasn't ready to face them. I knew I'd be feeling like a scumbag afterward, and I couldn't get it done. I wonder what happened. Walked to the window and moved the curtains out of my way. He had opened the trunk of his car, his whole body almost falling inside. I couldn't see what he was looking for from this angle. Then he dropped something to the ground, closed the trunk, and walked back into the building. I waited for him to return and turned toward the entrance only when I heard the door close. Ryan? He was out of breath, but his paws refused to let go of the case he brought in. His grip seemed to tighten around the edges, further digging into it. He was embarrassed. I could tell this must have been a spur-of-the-moment decision. Can I? His voice was soft, but there was a fire in his eyes I had never seen before. He was determined to see this through, and I didn't want to ruin it for him. I I worried about my neighbors being forced to hear our noise with these paper-like walls. But right now, I didn't give a fuck. Yes. Oh, hiya, Keiko. Welcome. He immediately beamed with excitement, made his way over to my bed, and opened the case. I need to tune it first. It looked fairly new. The surface was shiny and well taken care of. Even his soul liked to run along its surface, displaying how much Ryan truly cared. Oh no, don't worry about it. He strummed those strings, played a few notes, and mumbled an apology whenever he produced a weird sound. No laughing! I wasn't laughing at the way he played, but I didn't even get a chance to explain that he'd laugh alongside me. I can't focus if you do that! That only made us laugh and smile some more. I held my jaw in defeat and turned the other way. My face isn't used to this, it hurts. That's what you get for teasing me so much. He'd say that and then take a quick break, only for him to do the same. Okay, here it comes. The bear adjusted himself, repeated a few lines to test the waters, and cleared his throat. So, this is my 5th draft, I think? I was stuck at the 2nd verse, but talking to you gave me the inspiration I needed. And, I don't know, I guess it felt like singing it to you? It's a different way of telling you what I really think. What's the song called? You gave it a title, right? I had a few names in mind, but I haven't settled on one yet. I see. Please reserve your questions for the end of my performance. I chuckled. Someone's raising my expectations now. Well, I can be quite competitive sometimes. I'll take your challenge head on. He stopped teasing, stretched his fingers, and began playing. Oh? Hang on. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna turn that up. Mute myself. And, yeah.
Sigh, a gentle smile keeps him want to stay a while. Do they know what you are going through? You try to find where you belong, pretending like there's nothing wrong, but deep inside you're yearning to be free. When it feels like nothing's left that you can do, just know that I'll be here to see you through. Don't ever lock your heart away and look up for a brighter day. The time will come when your heart speaks its truth. Don't ever lock your heart away and look up for a brighter day. The time will come when your heart speaks its truth. Oh. You told me what was on your mind, the fears you kept so deep inside. Now we both know what you've been going through. When it feels like nothing's left that you can do, just know that I'll be here to see you through. Don't ever lock your heart away and look up for a brighter day. Don't ever lock your heart away. The time will come when your heart speaks its truth. lock your heart away.
I don't appreciate having these feelings. I don't fucking appreciate it. Okay. Okay. I think I'm calm now. You fucking cooked. And the person who's saying that, they ate. They absolutely ate. He stopped and gently lowered his guitar to the floor. The bear took deep breaths, and we sat in silence for a minute or two. We failed to articulate a cohesive thought that actually made sense. Absolutely no crumbs were left. Quick question, who did sing it? It's in the credits. Okay, well, the end of this, then we're going to have to check the credits. We failed to articulate a cohesive thought that actually made sense. Was there anything to say? I clung to his jacket, the usual smell of pines flooding my nose and soothing me. He wrapped his arm around me and I scooched closer. Can we stay like this? I didn't answer, I just hugged his torso and assumed he'd get the hint. Have you ever thought I'd wish this moment could last forever? Many times. Well, you gave it to me just now. My restraints were at their weakest, especially today. And my heart was breaking down those walls against my wishes. I wanted this, I believed I did, but I was so undoubtedly afraid of it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. What you are, what you want, those are yours to keep or share. That's why I've always thought that even if you don't want to tell anyone, you should at least be honest to yourself. Don't lock your heart away. I smiled. That line was incredibly appropriate. I wondered how long it took for him to come up with that. This should be the title of your song. Then it's settled. I'll complete the whole thing later after I get home. Hearing him sing reminded me of something else. So you've been writing your lyrics on paper? I shouldn't. Sometimes. You know, I haven't been home recently, so I had to resort to my phone. And you don't like that? I guess paper feels more real. There's a nice vibe about holding a pen and paper. Holding a pen and writing. He gave me a tired smile. There's a hint of sadness in those words. My phone can't give me that. Have you been up to anything else? His soul erupted, a sign that maybe he did know something. What do you mean? But he was hesitant, fearful of my questioning, and kindly telling me to stop. You know, besides writing lyrics. Oh, that. I didn't even know why I was asking this now. He wasn't going to remember. He didn't know in the first place. His behavior would have been much different if he had known about... I like to write down random thoughts I get during the day. They could eventually become song material. I see. Was I hoping for a different answer? He wasn't going to tell me anyway. They were just scrambled notes, nothing special. His soul was shaking. He was trying, but he couldn't cross the boundary further than he already did today. I'm okay with waiting. I caressed and reassured him, and his soul slowed down. That was great, thank you for playing. His vocal range was amazing. I'm glad. My previous attempts weren't as good. I didn't expect your singing voice to be so different from your usual. That's what I've been practicing. I didn't want to sound too deep for this one. Ryan jumped off and returned his guitar to its case. Did that help? You really want me to say it? No, I guess there is no need. I'll take this back to the car. I stood and watched him leave. I'm proud of you. He stopped for a second, took those words in, and resumed walking. I figured that he couldn't address me the way he wanted to, but I caught him getting emotional on his way out. One day I'll tell you the truth, when we were ready to handle it. My mind went back to that bag. I reluctantly brought it back onto my bed and stared at it. Then I waited for Ryan to return. It took him longer than usual. A tissue was peeking out of his pockets. Are you doing it? I have to. This was some sort of adult responsibility I couldn't dodge. It's better to take the hit now rather than later. This is your mom, you've got this! Carefully unzipped the bag and was immediately met with fresh ironed clothes. The clean smell of that detergent she always used slapped me with nostalgia. Aw, these are winter clothes for the upcoming season. Keep telling her not to waste her energy by ironing them. But I just didn't care about it. I guess you can't always be right. You care about this? Yeah, you gotta look good! I don't have the time to. I dug deeper and found clean socks and underwear. It was a bit awkward, and as soon as I realized what I was holding, shoved them back in. Not a word. The face he was making didn't need them anyway. And there's your favorite fur wash bottle. Quickly opened it to smell its earthy fragrance. How did you know I wanted this? I haven't been able to find it here. Reminds me of nature, of all the time we spent out in the park. Yeah, good times. There's a small envelope hiding at the bottom, and judging by its shape alone, we both recognize what it was. How much do you think she gave you? If you wanted me to come visit more often, then why would you? It has to be at least 1,000. Mom, you were so fucking stupid. But I loved you nonetheless. There's a tiny message written on the back. Please take better care of yourself. Love you. Well, she packed this before meeting you. Well, you know how it is when it comes to moms. They just know. I sighed, closed the bag, and moved it on the floor. You know why I was upset earlier? Because I couldn't tell her. As much as I wanted to say it, no words were coming out. Is this about your sexuality? That was also on my mind, but hearing you played made me realize it's not as important. No, what I wanted to say is that I'm unsure about the path I'm walking on right now. That the scholarship might have been a mistake, and I was too scared of saying it. How could I admit to her that I've been wasting her time and money? I didn't want her to be disappointed. I thought you liked it. I don't know. I thought I did, but I'm still unhappy pursuing it. I just couldn't find anything else that truly made me feel fulfilled. Something that called my name, that I could call my own, that truly reflected who I was. So I made a promise to myself that the next time I'm seeing her, I'd tell her the truth. But I wanted to be ready for it. And now Liam's forcing me to visit her and get things done much sooner. You can just focus on your dad for now. I don't want to do that. It doesn't feel right to me. She deserves to know the truth. I'm here for you. Thanks. But I think you'll be fine. You're always underestimating yourself. Liam was so confident with this "you'll do it" that it sounded like he knew you'd find that answer before then. I doubt that. Hey, I was right about Russell, wasn't I? That's an even crazier level of prediction. Fine, I'm asking him the moment we get there. I shrugged. I didn't have anything against it. I was also curious about him. So is that gaming request still up for grabs? Is someone in the mood to lose? More like I'm in the mood to make you lose. We've got time for a few matches before the meeting. Best of 3 it is. Plugged in the remotes and turned on the TV. My bed was our makeshift couch. Best of 5. He awkwardly asked after losing 2 in a row. Sure. He lost anyway. Did you take everything with you? Waited by the door as I turned the lights off. Yeah, just give me a second. Let me put my shoes on. Oh, special occasion? It's protection against the castle? Ah, yeah, that. He deflated, almost disappointed to hear that answer. Usually you'd take those out for dates and stuff. His explanation stopped me in my tracks and to give him a confused look. What is going on in that brain of yours? Barefoot is better. He was so proud of that. Right. My response was dry. Now drive us to the saffron stash. I pushed him outside and locked the door behind me. Okay, how far along are we in the update? Genuine question, how far along are we in the update? Because this decides whether or not I split it into 2. Because I'm tired. Kind of. Is it enough for a second stream? Is it enough to justify second stream? Alright. I'm... Hang on. Gotta figure out. Okay, so 30%, we've been going for about an hour and a half. So that'd be roughly half an hour. I'll just ask the question, do they go to the castle tonight? Actually, no, don't answer that. Oh, never mind then, we're leaving off here tonight. Yeah, we're leaving off here tonight. Alright, I'm gonna look at the credits real quick. Okay, you said the, singer... Okay, composer... singer, Hyena Culture. Okay, I'll have to check them out. Wait, what? Wait, what's going on? Is that like a joke I'm missing? Oh, okay. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.